This is the first year of Teacher Pathway, and the goal of the class is that we will inspire students to go into a career in education. I think it's the best profession for me, and I hope a lot of other students will find it can be a very good profession for them. In Teacher Pathway, we're learning about the history of education, the ethics, the professionalism of education, also how to deliver a lesson, how to manage a classroom, and then of course learning a lot about students and the different demographics we have in our own school district and across the nation, the different needs students have, the different ways students learn. It's a class that of course gives our students a foundation when it comes to the field of education, but it's also opened their eyes to what's happening in the classrooms that they're in every day. My students tell me a lot that it's almost as if a curtain has been opened up and they now get to see behind the curtain. And when they go to AP Calculus, suddenly they are noticing that their teacher is following the Madeline Hunter lesson plan or whatever it may be. And they've found a lot of fun in getting that special privilege to know what's really going on. Another aspect of Teacher Pathway is that students can decide if a major in education is for them before they get to college and start paying tuition. I've had one student who thought she'd want to be an elementary school teacher and then found out that she doesn't like speaking in front of big groups. And so she's thinking maybe being a teacher isn't for her. Maybe being a school counselor would be a better job. Or maybe not education at all and to become a physical therapist. So that happens, and I'm glad then that that person has figured that out before she got to college. However, I've also had students who took the class not really thinking that teaching was their first choice. For some of them, it might be the third option, and it started to move up on that list for them. I have a boy, a football player here at Roosevelt, a good football player, who thought for sure he wanted to be a high school teacher, and then coach high school football. But as he's been working at Oscar Howe with our little kids over there, he's discovered elementary teaching might be the place for him. So they're learning a lot that they wouldn't get in their first year or two in a college setting, and therefore having a better starting point when they get to college so that they can be more purposeful and intentional with their college experience.
We went to Oscar Howe in the morning every Thursday for this class, kind of like a practicum period, and we learned just kind of like what it was like to be an elementary school teacher. I got to go to a second grade classroom, and I kind of came into this class, sat on a high school teaching thing, and walking in there, it really showed me the differences. I still want to be not elementary, it's just not where I'm at, but it helped me understand the difficulties and all these little kind of lessons that came with teaching that I didn't see until I was in the eyes of the teacher instead of just the eyes of the student.
Being at Oscar Howe is really fun because you're able to sit in on a class and see all these little first graders doing their own little thing, and I think that it's just very interesting because they're very touchy and motivated and just kind of say what they think without really thinking it. So I just thought that was really fun and cute.
Well, I think there have been many benefits. Some of the immediate impact, I think, are relationships. Our students are thrilled when the Roosevelt students come in. You can see when they walk into the room, they just beam. Often they're running up, giving kids hugs. I talked to a Roosevelt student that was leaving today. She went out with an armload of birthday cards that kids had made for her. It was her birthday today. So that's an immediate benefit of the positive relationships our students have with the Roosevelt kids. And anytime I think that we can create more positive role models for students, that's just a win-win for everybody. I think it helps our teachers feel like they're giving something back to the profession. I've heard comments about where these students, they've been very impressed how they've come to Oscar Howe and sometimes, especially early on, sat back and observed and would ask the teachers questions about why did you do this or why did you make that instructional move. So they're really into learning also. Obviously they have an interest in this profession. So we've been very impressed with how serious the kids have taken it and really wanted to come here to learn.
Some of the best things that we do here is every Thursday morning we go to Oscar Howe, and I have the honor of being in Mrs. Dean class. She's a second grade teacher. We go there every Thursday morning. Sometimes we help them with sight words. Sometimes we help them with anything else. For example, this Thursday actually, I got to go in and we had two new students, Fiona and Philip. And I got to help Fiona. She was doing an assignment basically saying, what did you do over the break? And I just helped her make some sentences, and I loved it. was absolutely fun for me.
I've been in a kindergarten classroom, and then I mentored in the 4th and 5th. So for my second graders that I'm in was a whole new world. It was completely different right in the middle. So it was really interesting to see like the reading levels and everything that is at a second grade level. So I hadn't been exposed to that yet. So it's really cool to see how different everybody's at, like at that middle stage of elementary school, that there's some people that are still way down here in a reading level, and there's some people that are above and beyond. So it's really cool to see that part. And then just being with Miss Lukens, like she's just so awesome. She's like the kindest teacher ever, and so I think able to see how she shows her kindness and love through like her behavior management in her class and everything, like how she pulled out the good in every student. I just like that, and I just hope that one day like I'm like that, and I don't know, they all just see her as somebody they can like go to if they need it, and she's always supporting her kids. So it's really great to see that there's like still teachers like that are just so loving, and that's the only thing they show is like their love and compassion to their kids. So I really liked being in that classroom.
We have a few goals. We want to increase our applicant base so that we have many people to choose from for our positions, and therefore can get the very best teachers in the classroom. We also would love to see our applicant base increase in its diversity so that the students in the classroom look at that teacher and say, that teacher looks like me. Maybe I could be a teacher. Education's important. This person graduated from college and is a professional. So yes, our hope is that a lot of these students will come back, and research says that students do tend to end up teaching very close to wherever they went to school. And so I'm excited to see in the next 4 or 5 years which of my students are back here in Sioux Falls, and not my students, but my colleagues.
A lot of things that it's shown me, it's like you have to be patient with kids, and not even just at a particular level. You have to be patient throughout all grade levels. You have to get to know your kids. The teacher that I'm with there, Miss Hayek, she really knows her kids, and she knows their home life, so she's really personal with them. So she knows day by day what kind of situation they're going to have. You know,
We have 2 or 3 students who go into a classroom together, and we are in all of the 1st and 2nd grade classrooms at Oscar House, so that's 8 classrooms. And they are there to observe the teacher and learn about teaching, but also to help the teacher and learn about students. So I have had some students present lessons to the entire class. I've had students work one-on-one with students. Students work in small groups, and they're learning a lot, again, about what's behind the scenes in teaching, something they never noticed when they were sitting in the student's desk.
I feel like it's an opportunity for us to grow our own. When Dr. Nold and Mrs. Benz approached me about the possibility of partnering with Oscar Howe, I was very excited. This gives us an opportunity to have these students in our building that have an interest in teaching, and we're hoping that we can foster that interest or even spark a deeper interest in going into this profession. It would be my hope that down the road we see some of these kids, if they decide to go to college to become teachers, that they can do their student teaching here at Oscar Howe, that we could eventually hire them. So I just think that's a win-win, again, for the Sioux Falls School District to grow their own. And it's really exciting to see many of these Roosevelt students were former Oscar Howe students. So I love that too when they come back. They're kids that have come back and done assemblies for us to talk about character and perseverance. And for our kids to constantly make that connection with some of these kids has just been great. I think some of the other advantages that this program shows that I've seen, that our teachers, their job is they will collaborate and they identify the essential skills that our students must know in reading and math and writing. And so what this program's given us an opportunity to do is these students will come in and our teachers will assess. And we find out 2 things: kids that have mastered those essential skills or kids that have not mastered it yet. And so this program has given us an opportunity for the high school kids to work with those students to help them practice. They also, on a second twofold part of that, is that then they will also sometimes come in and do some of the assessment. Well, that provides valuable time for the teacher, because that takes a long time. When you have 25 to 27 kids in your room and assess every student individually, these students have come in and done that, and then that data is handed over to the teacher, and now the teacher, again, can find out who needs more reteaching, who does not quite understand, or again, then make plans for when the students come back the next week about what they can be practicing with them.
Some kids are writing, some kids are reading, and some kids are sorting words. And our job is to really kind of help them with that. Like I have one kid where I was like, hey, what are you writing about? And he goes, I'm writing about my sister's dog's friend. And I'm like, that's awesome. But I look at his page and he's just scribbling. And I'm like, okay, let's work through this. Because later I found out that he wasn't just scribbling, he just didn't know how to write. And I was kind of helping with that. And it's really interesting to see his improvement. It really helped you kind of have your own students. Because in second grade, you're learning at such like a fast rate that it's interesting to see them develop almost. And this class, going there for this class was really almost eye-opening.
Plan is to go to Northern, play football there, get my degree, come back to Roosevelt, be a coach here for football, and then teach here, modern U.S. history, whatever they want me to teach, I guess.
Even if like you're not gonna be a teacher, I feel like it's very interesting and you'll get out of it, like understanding why your teachers do certain things and like their mindset of it.
If you think you're a prospect of possibly becoming a teacher, I would highly recommend taking this class since it will teach you skills that are necessary. We teach you about the multiple intelligence that students will have. We teach you about management skills. We also teach you how to make connections with your students so you can help them succeed throughout the classroom.
My sister didn't get to take this class 2 years ago here, and I'm telling her all this stuff that we're doing and that we're learning lesson plans and we're making them, and my sister's like, I'm doing the same thing. And so she's a sophomore and she's just starting to get into making lesson plans and getting exposure into classrooms, but we're seniors and juniors here and we're already getting that. So it's pretty awesome.
I've had a lot of students show interest in teacher pathways. So we ended up having a lot of students go into the first and second grade classrooms. We're going to spread it out because we have so many students at Roosevelt who are thinking they might want to be teachers. So next semester, I've got students going into first, second, third, fourth, and fifth grade classrooms, which they're excited about. They're also sad. They're going to miss the students they've been working with for a whole semester. But they also know it's important to see another teacher's teaching style, to see another grade level, just so they can expand their understanding of education and learning. So this year we have 44 students in Teacher Pathway. When we created the class, we were hoping for 15, and then 3 times that. It was exciting, it was mind-boggling, and then we had to quick figure out how we were going to do this with 44 students. And in our other 3 high schools, we also got bigger numbers. I think in the whole district, we have around 150 Teacher Pathway students altogether. And they are wanting to teach all different levels, all different subjects. We have people who want to teach kindergarten, and we have people who want to teach college maybe. And of course, everything in between.
I'm going to attend USD next fall, and I think after I graduate from there, they're going to be building a new school. So I mean, there's going to be some job openings, right? And I'm like, come on. So I'm kind of hoping that I do come back and teach at the Sioux Falls School District.
Mr. Hazlett was talking about how he would like some of us to come back, and I would definitely come back.